Magick tribe that came in, invaded, took it over, and just fills the cities now.
I have somebody on YouTube asking me, Dr. Kabbalah, how do you know Adrian Dittman? I just found your channel. How do you know Adrian? So, like,
Well, they are best friends.
so if Trump joins, you know, the king, meaning that he's totally blackmailed, and he does this for we the people, and he sells it to us, um, because I've heard, I heard somebody once say that Trump's grandchildren are going to be the Messiah. Like we will go through a period of.
Yes, I've heard people say like Barron is going to be, he's a future prince. He's going to be the president. Oh, look at this little baby that Donald Trump's holding. It's his great grandkid. That's the Messiah there. I've heard exactly the same stuff. This weird.
But wouldn't that mean?
Again, almost European.
Wouldn't that mean we have to go back into a period of servitude, meaning that like we get reconquered and then we get reliberated with the grandchildren, and then the War of Independence will play all over again? Like, aren't we just repeating the same dance over and over again? So, like, this merger is the coup d'état, got your king pawn move, and then the next 2 generations from now will have to be reliberated. I don't know.
I have no idea. I don't believe that myself. I don't know. I'm not going to let it happen. If the Republic tries to fall, I'm going to try to stand in its way of falling. I'll be holding it up. Maybe that's why I got carjacked. Maybe they were trying to kill me. Because, when I go over this carjacking again, and I think of the suspects that were there, how many carjacking groups are like a diverse group of suspects? Like a white guy, a black guy, a girl, and some like Norwegian accent fella? Like, how many times do you hear that happening?
I thought you got robbed by an Uber driver. I mean, a guy who ordered Uber from you.
Yes. It was a guy who ordered Uber from me. His name was Izzy in the app. That was the Norwegian-sounding guy. I guess he was Jewish or some shit. I don't know. His name turned out to be Israel.
Dude, nobody's trying to assassinate you. I guarantee you that this world is so shitty that was a random piece of shit asshole cocksucker who you just happen to fucking be trying to deliver a meal to. That's the shit type of society we live in.
You're probably right. It is St. Louis.
Oh, yeah. I've been to St. Louis. It's the fucking ghetto. It's the ghetto.
Well, I won the fight, that's for sure. It's all good, so we're good there. But,
yeah. I mean, I don't know.
I don't seem too crazy and pretend. It's just hard. I don't understand how it happened. There's also the possibility when I pick the pizza up and they followed me to the location because it was just a weird spot to get robbed at. But I don't know.
Well, anyways, I mean, it's not some international ploy to take you out. I mean, you know what? You did run for Congress. I mean, do you think it's connected to that?
I was running for Congress then too. Yes, that's what made me think, what the fuck? I was actively running for Congress.
Okay, so then that does pose an interesting question. I mean, you were the second place man. Like, you were going to win just on the word and no budget. So there could be there could have been a plot to kill you. But you didn't win the election anyways. So, they won either way. I mean, kill you or win the election, but they won the election. So it drags your hypothesis down of a targeted assassination down.
You're definitely right. That's why I don't adopt it. I still keep it in my mind just in case, but it's not an adopted ideology. But then you got to be aware of, for sure. I just didn't expect, for my very first time running for office, I was already going to be dodging bullets. You know what I'm saying? That's something you think is going to happen later on, not immediately the first time you do it.
Anytime politically you attack people online politically, saying, they're fakes, they're liars, they're frauds, they're sellouts, they're scam artists, you could have physical repercussions. I mean, that's politics. That's politics. Like, I really do believe that's true.
Oh, yeah, immediately. Yeah, that's why I stay strapped up. I mean, who knows? It could even been somebody I pissed off on here and they just happened to see me out there in the world. But hey, there's that motherfucker. We wouldn't know because he's not here to talk anymore. But, there's that. I am still surprised that it appears that Donald Trump is going to sell us out to the British Empire, to the Redcoats. George Washington would bust out of his grave with a musket in his hand if he could right now, just hearing the words. In fact, I'm going to ask ChatGPT about this and see what they think Washington would do.
I mean, change is inevitable. Do you think Eisenhower was talking, when he was talking about essentially a plot to enslave mankind? I mean, do you think it's essentially like the Western world's military industrial complex? I mean, because military hierarchy and the pyramid and the king, like the king is the god of war. I mean, it's the closest embodiment to the source of the divine, which is really war. I'm saying with a negative attitude, it's perpetual war. But I mean, King Charles and everything I've heard, and Alex Jones and all these documentaries about him, it's like this all does seem to like this seems like the ever-changing political landscape. I mean, you go from
So you
independence.
hit on something that Alex Jones did enlighten me to, and that is like what you're talking about. Their god is war. Their kings are little gods of war, and divinely inspired by war, and that's completely true. If they do have a god, it is war, and that is the truth. It's a god that you can prove exists. You can see war on the internet if you want to. You know what I mean? It's like that's a force and entity that is very, very, very real, and it does actually gives them power. They are kings because of war, not peace. It's not peace and love and sex that made them kings. It is destruction and war.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a verse by Crowley in the Book of the Law. I think it says that like peace implies war, victory implies war, kingdom implies war, all things imply war. Like it's a way to neurolinguistically program yourself for battle. And I think in the Book of the Law, he says, I will give you a war machine. Like it's neurolinguistic programming. Like Crowley is about war, governance, domination, personal, achievement of the will, like finding your true will. Crowley is like the ultimate hypnosis, meaning that like he has this document, it's called The Rights of Man. And if you read that, it kind of supersedes it supersedes our Constitution. In the sense that it's like it's a one pager. The Constitution's long. It's too long. We need to compress it and simplify that fucker. They were, they thought about that document so hard, they crammed as much as they possibly could into it. And it was all relevant and contextual to the time. So I don't know. Like I read Thomas Jefferson. I'm looking at the book right now. Like I read it every 4th of July because I'm like, this has to be the basis of my understanding. This is our Constitution. This is our philosophy.
Yes, I agree. And people think I'm crazy when I say stuff like this. Like, if you don't read scripture, what do you read? Unlike Thomas Jefferson, George Washington's notes to his wife, Abraham Lincoln's, library of letters. They're like, why would you read that instead of scripture? Because that's the very real concrete structure that the society around you is built in. Their words, their actions, the laws that they help build, their ideologies. And you have to understand it to be successful in the very world that you live in. You live in it. You can't not know about it and try to live in it. There's no way you can ever operate in it then if you don't.
It's interesting. Like I have the state of Illinois Constitution, so I'm gonna run and I'm gonna try to primary this Rhino Republican here in the Chicagoland area named LaHood, and I'm going to literally chop up the state constitution into 1-minute clips. It's like to create content, you do actually have to become a master of the law and demonstrate it and prove that your opponent doesn't even consider the law. All they do is consider spending. That's it. They don't consider the law. They have no interest in it at all. And unless it's like, parliamentary or, process driven or something to that extent. Like, I'm just saying that your opponent isn't going to have the willpower to actually chop up or create education for the population because the true leader of the people is the teacher. And none of these politicians are teachers. Bernie, AOC, they're just mass hypnotists who want to give you dopamine to resist, like because you're already in such a weak, depressed state. They're vampire suckers, they're spirit suckers. So the true leader gives the spirit or teaches the spirit to the people, and then you can obtain the political power because you are authentically teaching the truth. It's like one way to reverse engineer your victory.
Well, it's like what you said about education. That's the reason they've focused education on algebra, this and that and this. And they've lied when they say it's to make you smart. They've lied when they say it's to make you a good worker. They've lied when they say it's to make you a good citizen. It's to fill your head full of information so that your cup is full and that when you hear other things, you're going to forget it. It's falling out. It's not going to stay because you would say algebra in there that you don't use at your job selling Abercrombie and Fitch. You know, it's just what the education should be. This is going to sound crazy. It's a lot of English inside this, but it would be 12 years of lessons focusing on what it is to be a citizen in the Republic, reading legislation, learning how to read it, how to edit it, the process in which it goes through, committee chairs, what staffers do, how to run an office as a legislator. The entire 12 years should be about management and coordination, not about management, coordination, and being a citizen, not about topics such as algebra, geometry. Those things can be elective topics. I don't know why we even use them as measurements because they're not used in everyday life. Maybe a carpenter might use it for laying floors, but there's a tool, and he's taught how to use that tool right there. He doesn't need 12 years of classes to learn how geometry works to be able for the foreman to say, hey, you do this right here and go to 178. It's really simple shit. A monkey can learn how to do a lot of it. So there's no real reason to have a 12-year system to teach us unimportant stuff that fills our brains so the hard drive is full. Sorry I ranted there a bit. I did take a puff on a fucking blunt.
I just don't see how this integration makes sense when you think about the consecutive presidents. Like they themselves are war chiefs presiding over a legacy of war. And so for one of them to get co-opted or essentially somehow contaminated to essentially toss it because he likes to say, "Oh, congratulations, like you're a member of the Long Gray Line now." Like that's what the president is. It's like the commander of this revolutionary army that doesn't ever end. And if he ends the Revolutionary Party and incorporates us in a merger with the King of England, I mean, it's the ultimate traitorship. It's the ultimate rug pull. It's the ultimate.
And when I asked ChatGPT, it said if George Washington were alive today, he would most certainly be furious at the idea and would lead a revolution against Donald Trump and the idea of joining the Commonwealth. So ChatGPT acknowledges that George Washington would lead a revolution against Trump.
But how does he sell it? Like everybody will know
I have no idea how he sells it. If they even sell it, or are they just going to keep it under the rug? Does it turn out that it's not Jews at all, but it's like you said, MI6?
It's got to be the CIA. The CIA is only the CIA because we learned from essentially dirty tricks. Like I said, we're innocent cows in a field. We have no idea how sick and perverse and just how far. Like, listen, 9/11 is all you need to know. Like, there's a lot unexplained there. Two planes don't bring back to skyscrapers.
People don't even understand that. Like, what you saw at 9/11 wasn't a tragedy. That was a message to say, this is what we will do to you. This is how much power and what we're willing to do to ensure that we keep this control. That they will launch fucking airplanes into buildings where you will have to jump out, burning and dying.
No, it's not that. It's the thermite detonators. It's the fact that it was all staged, and so life is a theater event. And so,
well, yeah, it was to make the most mayhem possible. Knock the towers down. They wanted the videos of people jumping out. They wanted the people on the plane, even the one that crashed. I don't think that crashed because of people like fighting in the cockpit. I think it crashed because they crashed it on purpose. They just wanted the people fighting, so they had the recording.
Have you seen this show called The American Gods?
I have, yeah.
So there's a scene where he's talking to this kid in this like metallic chamber, and he's like, my greatest power is trickery. And so if you look at like Hermes, the Joker, the Fool, um, meaning that if life is this like staged theatrical event, and that's like the true, that's really the truth, meaning that like right now in this conversation there is a compression of total trickery, meaning that like Donald Trump and this coming merger with the King of England, like it will all have to be based on trickery, which is really just hypnosis. And so the thing is, it's like you can opt out of the hypnosis and you can resist, or you can integrate and go deeper, meaning that like the rug pull results in another rug pull. Be careful what you rug pull. Like they don't know what they're actually, you know, they don't know the outcome of reintegration, because there's storming, forming, and norming with every new union or meeting. It's storming. There will be fighting. So it's
Okay, so
like,
I'm looking at this here, and it looks like all he has to do is get Senate approval, and that is even fucking worse than I thought before, because the Senate, he has players in place that are the most radical of all of them. Not Congress, but the Senate.
yeah, but
He doesn't need congressional approval.
Massey, Rand Paul, I mean, I don't.
Josh Hawley.
But why are they going to flip on America and say, yeah, let's go join the Commonwealth again and be one big family?
You're right, they might not, but I mean, Lindsey Graham, is that a senator?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a problem. He will go with Trump 100%. Rubio, actually, Rubio's not in it no more. He got replaced, didn't he? He got taken out and put in the fucking cabinet as a Secretary of State. I don't know. I don't see a good path for senator. I feel like it could get approved through the Senate.
Okay, so let's say they do reintegrate. That opens up like a European Union for migration, meaning that we could go to like 410 million people, because now Britain has shifted their mass migration flow off to us. This is like the same scheme they pulled with Australia. It's like, let's get all the criminals out and dump them over there, dump them in the new world. I mean, I don't know if that's really what's happening, but something to consider. Like, I don't know. I don't understand how they can essentially stop what we're doing. I think we've made tremendous mistakes, but that's because George Bush is a cocksucker. Bill Clinton is a cocksucker. Obama is a cocksucker, a real cocksucker. Like, the presidents have been terrible. Terrible people. They've done the dumbest shit for us collectively ever imaginable. Everything they do is essentially to take from the people. So they've been terrible. I don't know. I mean, even the 9/11 response with Afghanistan, it's like, okay, do you have to send everything? Do you have to rebuild the country? Do you have to put girls in school? It's like we went there for collective punishment, not to rebuild their fucking country and make it the 51st state. Everything is stupid.
I am gonna run a mock vote through ChatGPT, and see what it has to say, what it thinks these senators would vote for.
I don't know. It's bad if we lose our sovereignty, because we're like the escape hatch for the rest of the world. And if we lose our independence, we become their bitch, and we have to go with the flow. We create the flow right now. They're trying to take our flow generator. We have an infinite pulsation machine known as the Federal Reserve, and they will do supposedly what our Congress tells them to do. I think we need to reverse enema and currency manipulate and essentially liberate ourselves by reverse engineering the entire flow of money, by giving liberty checks to every American from here on forth, every citizen. If you have a social security number and you're alive and you can drag your fat ass to our liberty check office, we'll give you $1,000 a month. But everything else is shutting down. Like, there has to be, we've got, like, Doge is doing it. Like, I don't know if you saw the social security cuts. But like that's not drastic enough because if they're going to reincorporate us and basically like balance the books by doing a merger, um, because this is like banking mergers. This is like the everything merger. You know, it's like it opens up everything. It like gives away our country. We're giving it away. That you see what I'm saying? Like the country as a whole, even based on $40 trillion in debt, is worth so much more than $40 trillion. Like we're worth hundreds of trillions. We are fucking ourselves if this happens. We are selling our children's birthright. This is why they revolted in the beginning, was to take it. Like we took it by force, and we're gonna give it up because of espionage. That's how the cookie crumbles, dude. I'm telling you. I think you're right about this. It's a pleasure to speak with you about it because you're the only person I know who's ever even mentioned it. But I think this is true.
ChatGPT currently running it through there. I want to see what it has to say. I'm trying to, use its logical reasoning. I use ChatGPT differently than other people do. I present scenarios like I sometimes play Dungeons and Dragons through it because that's the way I found out that it's the most advanced. Is if you run logic simulation through it. So not only do I do Dungeons and Dragons, but I'll give it real live action scenarios like a mock vote. Presenting it a position of certain senators the way that they are. I'll give it a senator. I'll give it 50 senators the way they usually present themselves, and then go through the mock vote. And it can sometimes accurately guess it. People use the AI and stupid tools, and you have a very advanced tool at your hands. Everybody, make sure you use it perfectly. It's currently running the numbers now. Sometimes when you do a large compute like this, it takes a minute.
Yeah, this is the ultimate rug pull. It's like I knew people were getting fucked before and forced basically into slavery to a certain extent, but this is like the ultimate rug pull because we could liberate everybody in this country. We have the money to liberate ourselves and actually retire the whole thing and create our own internal security system to essentially protect what we got. Instead, we got espionage and we're giving everything away. This is what Putin complains about, how the Soviet Union broke apart. Like that was the biggest geopolitical catastrophe of the 21st century, I think, or the 20th century. So like that disintegration is so significant. This is the disintegration of really 50 states into a one world government in a way, or a two world government, because Russia probably will. I don't know. Russia isn't going to move. I don't know. The whole Eurasia or all of Asia really is its own super world, isn't it? Like 2.5 billion in Russia, China. I mean, in India, China, and then Russia. Like that landmass. Just like look at the map and just realize it's like North America, South America, Africa, Europe, and then Asia. Like the whole, like the size of Russia and all of Eastern Europe and it's just like such a massive part of the world, which is actually contiguous, like not separated by a sea. Like you can drive from fucking Beijing to Moscow to France. Like it is one super huge part of the world. And it's a lot fucking, how many? I mean, you're talking about, what is it that the Chinese, what's that highway system called? The Silk Road or whatever. It's not like it really matters because we live in the digital age, but bro.
All right, so I want to interrupt you just to tell the numbers that I just come up with. And AI says the final vote count for yes would be 57 and no would be 43. So it still fails because it needs a 2/3 majority. So it needs 67. There's 10 votes that would be in play, this says here. That's how close this measure would be.
Which measure, sorry?
The United States joining the United Kingdom Commonwealth, we're seeing how this doomsday scenario plays out if Donald Trump does present this treason.
It would be terrible.
It would be treason. It would be treason upon the Republic and the United States as it stands.
So, there's obviously the Republic movement as well within the UK has never been stronger. So I don't know whether he being Charles thinks he's gonna just make a new I don't know, he's gonna sidestep and be I know, part of America and now my peasantry. I don't know what it's. But
Yeah, we're supposed to now be subjects to the king. It's just insane. I can't believe that
we're not recommend also from experience. We're not recommend.
Yeah, we definitely know. There's a reason you revolted.
Oh yeah, shit. Sorry, my bad.
We remember.
Sorry, I'm also smoking. I forgot that, but yeah.
Oh yeah, me too. No, what it is, I ran it through ChatGPT. I told ChatGPT to run a mock vote of the current senators, and I entered in some of their information, and it came up with 57 to 43. So it thinks that 57 currently, would say yes. So that means that there's only at least 10 that they would need. That's a margin of error that I don't like that ChatGPT was able to come up with, that Donald Trump might be able to fill with a certain amount of Republican members. That was with minimal Republican support. He got 57. And this mock vote. So with a little bit more Republican support, maybe some Democrat crossover, the threshold of getting to 67 for this UK joining, it just sounds like a doomsday scenario. We're wondering if this is the rug pull that Donald Trump has been trying to do the entire time to reunite what I would call the Germanic tribal royal class again.
He wants to be king, right?
Yes, I do think that might be what it is. How do you become king or governor of America? You ask King Charles if he's in charge.
Yeah, but are there any other? There's no other kingdoms inside the Commonwealth. The other biggest kingdoms is the Saudis. Their kingdom is unmatched in terms of wealth. The king of Saudi Arabia is worth 15 trillion or something. So you're talking about huge numbers of differentials where it's Warren Buffett and Bill Gates, let's say you're worth 200 billion, 400 billion, 800 billion. That's nothing compared to a king. So, you could say that, this all depends on King Charles's delusions of grandeur and how far will the king go? That's why you should watch this movie called The Madness of King George.
Or even his sons. And somebody earlier was saying that these kings mean nothing. That, it's all symbolic, blah, blah, blah. I'm if it was symbolic, if they mean nothing, then they would not have them. They wouldn't exist. There'd be no point. That's like a gypsy on the side of the street calling herself a princess. And that means nothing because there is no actual point to it. There's nobody who recognizes it. These people are very real. Their power is very real. And their plot from the very beginning, right? People forget Windsor. The House of Windsor. I had to explain it earlier. That's not the House of Windsor. That is, I forget the name, but it's 3 of the Germanic tribes. That's her actual last name. That's what that represents, is the unity of the German empires or the Germanic tribal empires.
Do you know how much more, the increase in money we would get tourism-wise if we actually opened up all these houses and instead of just, it's ridiculous. The whole thing is so ridiculous.
I don't know. They got
Their goals do not align with the people. Their goals align with their royal agenda and their survival. That's have you watched this show on Queen Elizabeth? Most people watch it and they're like, "Oh, it's so great, the princesses and the queen." I heard the message that they were putting in there. And in the show,
Sorry.
Yes, well, they slipped in some stuff they weren't supposed to into their propaganda. One of it being, we have to do the image that we're doing nothing, because if not, we're going to end up like Wilhelm II.